All right,
Uh,
2020.
So I'll set
So,
this. I'll set the scene here for us.
but one sec, I can give the one-word review of the Oscars. I don't know if you can read it.
Oh, we can read that.
Weird.
Weird. Okay, so I will set the scene for 2020. Obviously, it is the the COVID year. This is the COVID-19
A year
pandemic.
that never should have happened.
Then the year that, well, it's essentially the year that never was, right? And it shuts down the world in so many ways. It obviously there are far more needed for the safety, health, and well-being of human industries. That also went the way of the dodo hard. But in terms of entertainment, strictly the entertainment world, I don't think a single business was hit harder or worse or damaged more than the movie business by
It's probably
the
true.
pandemic. Because also the pandemic went on long enough where people understood, wait, I don't have to spend $20. If you're in a city, you live in Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, fucking Philly, wherever. At the time of the pandemic, you're paying like $20 just to go see one movie as one person. It used to be. It used to be that was the reason dinner and a movie was the thing was because a movie was a cheap thing to do with a date. It's an easy thing to do with a date. And now half the time the experience, especially going into 2020 and then post 2020 where they have to recover, movies are not affordable to go to. Like you have to, and it's
Yeah, that's the
difficult.
problem.
And then you have an entire swath of people who are already integrating their household to be multifunctional to anything they want. So movie people are going to go, well, I can get surround. I have this giant TV now, or more people have started to get the projectors and the screens on the wall, or things of that nature. I don't need to do this. I can just wait till it's on a streaming service, or I can wait till it's a rental and pay $5 to do it, or $10 to do it. Why do I want to leave my house? And it is completely shown here. Just think of the box office here. Avengers Endgame legitimately is just constantly measuring dicks with Avatar for highest grossing movie of all time. Where it's just constant, oh, they made a little bit more, so we're going to re-release. It's just Disney going, hey, we own both. Why don't we just keep making money off both for the competition factor? That's 2019. In 2020, the highest grossing film of the year is $206.3 million. And it's Bad Boys for Life.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
The second highest grossing movie of the year is 1917, a movie that's not even released that year. Obviously, it was a late one for the Oscar season, but same time. Sonic the Hedgehog, $148.9 million. I think that one easily would have been the highest grossing movie had COVID hit 3 weeks later, because family movies always make more money. Jumanji Next Level, again, 2019. Rise of Skywalker, 2019. Talk about a movie that was just forgotten. Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn. Only $84.1 million. This is when a comic book movie can't do anything except make money. $84.1 million. Doolittle with Robert Downey Jr., $77 million. Little Women, 2019 movie. An Invisible Man, Call the Wild, Onward, Tenet, Knives Out, 2019 movie. Frozen 2, 2019 movie. That's your top 15. And a third of it is not even released in that year.
Yeah.
And the only true, the fact that I'm not saying Tenet is Christopher Nolan's best work, but that should show you the impact of COVID-19 when a summer blockbuster made by Christopher Nolan that can only make money only makes $58.5 million. That shows you everything you need to know about that year in terms of box office and what that happened in the movies.
Oh, it was just like there was just too many rules. Guys. for people to go around. Like, there's just too many hoops to go through.
Oh yeah, I mean, and the thing is, this
So
is when you looked at once you got to the 2020 summer, people had their routine and knew what they wanted to do. And the movie theater was not one that they really wanted to do. So to then pull you
well,
in...
it's like the furthest thing from their mind at that point.
Well, exactly. I mean, you're still at the height of people not working, where they've now gotten used to not working in that capacity. You know, it was strange for me because first 4 months I had a job, 5 months, and then I immediately transitioned to in-person work. But I went from not seeing anybody except my circle of 12 people that I trusted.
I never stopped working.
Well, yeah, your postal office, you had to, you know. I never stopped working. The only break I had was when we moved from Chicago to Philadelphia in the height of the pandemic. So
yeah. I never stopped working in person.
No, it was just strange because we shut down at the youth center. We were all just given a laptop. Because I remember vividly. Do you remember when Tom Hanks got COVID? He was like the first big American celebrity where it went like, oh shit, Tom Hanks. And people didn't know, and it was just mass hysteria.
Wasn't he in like Australia?
I don't know where it was, but when he was flying back, a parent, and I think possibly a kid, the school that we worked with for the youth center was in the same restaurant and like sat next to Tom Hanks's booth in the airport. And then the news broke, and then it was like mass hysteria panic. And then they shut down the school where the principal didn't call the Chicago public school system. They just said, nope, we don't know. We don't know anything about this. We're not putting anyone at risk. And they called every single parent and said, pick these kids up. So I remember well,
it doesn't help that our world leaders didn't really handle it all too well.
Well, there was a lot of world leaders that did handle it well. The one who didn't, unfortunately, ran our country. So,
well, I would say, well, he's
he's the tippy top fucking moron of this. But yes,
I was gonna say, but there was a lot of them that didn't handle it well.
And I just remember being like, how even weirdly the movies interacted with me on that day, because I had never been in the youth center in a building that dead where I had like 6 kids to work with, because they were just the kids that couldn't get picked up in time because their parents were like already at work, and they're like, what do you fucking mean? Like, what? So, and then I had to explain, like, no, nothing bad's gonna happen. It's okay. Like, you didn't come into contact with anybody whatsoever. And I remember being like, it's fine. I vividly remember. And I think it's just relevant to this conversation because of movies are just such an everyday part of life prior to that. And they still are, but in a different way. I remember having a conversation with friends, and it was looking like this was going to ramp up to what the pandemic became. And I said, no one's going to care until it impacts their daily life. And I'm talking to all future doctors here, because I'm in med school crowds due to AB. They're like, no. I'm like, no, I'm telling you right now, normal people will not care until this impacts their daily lives. That's when this becomes a real problem for normal people, not medical people. 30 minutes later, the NBA shut their season down. And I just went, well, and let it begin. And within 2 days, everything was dead. And I went, those are some fucking prophetic words on my part. And everyone like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm like, I'm telling you, no one's gonna care until they cancel sports. And it impacts what they watch on television and how they can go to the grocery store. They don't care. Because it's just how people's brains work.
The only thing I remember really about that was like, because I watch soccer and not other sports, is like watching football with absolutely zero fans in the stadium.
Yeah,
so weird.
It was such a strange experience. And the same thing for movies. I remember the Batman was supposed to release in 2020, and it got delayed.
Well, a lot of movies were.
And that was the one, because that one was long coming. Everyone's like, the Batman with Matt Reeves, and I went, oh shit. And to the point where I remember they released the trailer thinking hopefully they could get it in at late 2020, and then they pushed it to 2021. Still, they were just
Decision.
good decision on their
I,
part.
they didn't push far enough, but
Well, they pushed it into 2022, which is smart on their part.
I still don't think they pushed it far. I don't think March is like the best time for that movie, but
No, it was a pleasant surprise and a gift that year. But
that
I
movie should have come out in the fall.
yeah,
It's a fall movie.
yes, 1,000%. But it's just one of those that I remember. That was the one where I just said, "Come hell or high water, I don't care if I have to wear a fucking hazmat suit. I will be in the theater to watch this fucking movie." It came out to the point where that didn't have to happen. But
Yeah.
that was the one where I went, I do not care. I will die to watch this movie. And Top Gun Maverick was similar, where I went, I don't know, and finally I went, come hell or high water, I will be in the theater to watch Top Gun Maverick. I do not care.
Yeah.
But 2020, it's brutal to the point where you have Christopher Nolan switches the studios he works with because he's disgusted at how Warner Brothers released the movie, and now he works with Universal. Which I don't know. He might be coming back to Warner Brothers. I saw a report or something that the deal with Universal's up, and he might go back to Warner Brothers now that there's different management. And I was like, that's the smartest thing Warner Brothers could ever do.
Well, the best thing for him would be just create a bidding war. That'd be the best thing for him.
Yes, of course. Remember, Wonder Woman 1984 comes out.
Actually,
It's a
the best
streaming
thing for
service
him
thing.
would just be produce his movies independently and then create a bidding war between the studios.
Oh, 1,000%.
Because then he can do whatever the fuck he wants
Yes, but
with zero studio interference.
but this is the year where you're getting streaming. You're
I
getting.
highly doubt studios interfere with Christopher Nolan.
Oh yeah, exactly. You can't after Oppenheimer. What are you gonna say, Chris? We'd really like. Well,
Yeah.
that's kind of you to think, but I don't care.
Yeah.
But this is the year where so many big projects went to die, and out of desperation, streaming services and companies were like, "We are fucking dying here. We need to release these goddamn
There's
movies."
a lot of the movies that get nominated are streaming. So
But like you have, I remember HBO Max. That was the best thing of the year when they just went, "We need to recoup some of these losses. We want the streaming service to work. We're gonna put in day one movies on HBO Max. That's how people are gonna be able to watch this." And I remember it, and I mean that's also what happened the next year with Black Widow, to where Scarlett Johansson's relationship with Marvel was forever damaged. I think they're back on good terms, but because people were like, "Yo, you're fucking with my money. You're fucking with my residuals."
yep, I remember.
But same thing with Wonder Woman 84, Mulan. They both came out in 2020, and people were like, "This is weird. This is meant to be on a big screen as a big event, and I'm getting it on my TV." Neither of them were that great, so it was okay.
And
But
they also did this. Well, Disney Plus also is. I hate the way they did that, where you had to pay like $30 or whatever. That's bullshit.
I understood it. I didn't like it, but I understood it because I went,
You're paying for a service already. Fuck you for making me pay extra for a movie. Go fuck yourself.
I get it. I get it. I mean,
least
in terms of
HBO is at least HBO is at the point where I'm paying for this service. You're releasing a movie onto your service. Give me it. Okay, that's fine. That's great.
it's a great trade-off. And yeah. Or I wouldn't even cared if they. I think yes, the frustration is very warranted. Obviously, it was one in which I understood it because they were so flat on their ass that they're like, we need to make some money off of this. We can't write off like $300 million. However, having said that, yeah, you're right. You're already paying for a service, so the fact that you're going to charge me more and use it as an attraction to get me to watch the movie.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just bitter towards all streaming services. So
Yeah, you're not a streaming service guy, anyways. So
I hate them with a passion.
you really do.
I hate them. They're the worst. They're like the bane of my existence.
Well, I just remember streaming was supposed to change the world for such a better, and for a couple of years it did.
Oh, they definitely have not.
And now it's just cable. That's all it is.
It's worse than cable.
It's all it is, but it's worse because you have to do more work half the time to use a streaming service.
Exactly. And they're 10 times more exclusive.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Let's get into the
Oscars.
Let's dip into
like
it.
I said, a one-word review. Weird.
Fucking weird. Yeah.
Although I will say, if you want to just go and watch like the clips, like there's getting in, they're kind of fun for just like the weird oddities they are. There's like 100 people in the room, so it's just really fucking weird.
Hey, I mean, I remember watching the 2020 NFL draft. That was fun. It was a horrible production because
exactly.
It was just
really
hashtag tragic backstory was a part of every draftee's thing, but it was fun just watching Roger Goodell in his basement, like in a sweater, just being like, "Oh, I'm Uncle Roger, and here's who the Bengals are gonna pick at number 1."
Like, that's another thing. Is like some people were in person at the award show, and then some people were Zoom. It was just like, okay, this is really strange. Yeah. So weird production. It's awful. And then some of the things that they did, sound categories got combined. So no more sound mixing and sound editing, just best sound. Specific percentages got added to best score now. So minimum of 60% original score for all movies. And then best original score has to be 60% original. That's the minimum. And then for franchise and sequels, it has to be 80% minimum new music.
I don't get that because of the future ones that I saw nominated, but okay.
That's when you see like, oh, this movie was not eligible. That's what they're talking about. It's like I saw a big thing like Doom was not eligible, and I always never like saw a reason why. I always just saw it wasn't eligible.
Yeah.
So now I understand why it wasn't. Stuff like that.
Yeah, and I'm wondering because a couple years from now, Indie Dial of Destiny gets it, and I just go, score to that movie.
I guess it hit the mark.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not mad for John Williams to get another nomination. Yeah, it's John Williams.
It must have hit the threshold. And then the biggest story of the day was Best Actor fiasco that they had, where they changed the order that they announced the awards. They never done this before. Sometimes they change the way they like announce the awards, so it's like they announce Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Director, Best Picture.
Yeah.
Sometimes they do Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Picture. But this time, they announced they're going to do Best Actor last. Everyone was like, okay. So everyone was like, okay, so this must mean that they're trying to build up this. And Chadwick Boseman had just died. He was nominated, and the seemingly forefront, like the seemingly nailed on winner for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. That's the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone was like, okay, so this must be building up to that. And when he didn't win, everyone was like, ooh, this is a bad look. Like, that is not. Like, I get why you would kind of want to do that, but considering you, like, even the Oscars, like, they don't know who's going to win. Like, the Academy does not know who's going to win previous to the awards being announced.
Yeah, they just don't they have a third party collect all the votes for everybody?
Yes. So, like, why would you take that risk? Like, make it best.
I can tell you,
director. Best actress, best actor, best picture, maybe. So you're saving best actor for last until best picture, but
I have a theory that I'm pretty confident in. I don't have anything to back this up, so this could be total horseshit. I can tell you exactly who made that call. A TV producer.
oh, I'm sure it was.
A
I'm sure it
TV
was
producer said, "Isn't it? He's clearly going to win. This is going to be a feel good moment during the pandemic, and then people can honor one of the most popular actors at the time, and that's what's going to be."
that is a huge risk to take, and that's like just talk about egg on your face. Like
Oh, well, that's
that
that's
is
the
a
thing is,
bad look.
when I look at stuff like that, I love TV production. I'm really fascinated with TV production. It's actually part of the reason I'm so fascinated with pro wrestling is I love getting to hear how decisions are being made and why behind the scenes, like how it's being produced and why we're doing the things we're doing because it builds to something, right? That is textbook someone just going, look, think how big of a moment that is without another person in the room going, what if that doesn't happen?
And I should say, so going into the night, Chadwick Boseman had won the SAG Award, he had won the Golden Globe, he had won the Critics' Choice Award. So the only thing going against him was he had lost the BAFTA to Anthony Hopkins. So look, going into it, the chances were in his favor, but there's still an outside chance that you're not going to win.
Bad decision.
Oh,
That's one of those where I would have
yeah,
been like, don't deviate. Make it the second
yeah.
to last one. The other thing I don't understand
That's
this is
exactly. That's what I just
here's what I don't understand about the
picture last.
what I don't understand about the Oscars. Part of the reason people say that show is so fucking long, and why a lot of people don't watch that anymore. Why don't you just take your big six and sprinkle it throughout the night?
Well, they do. They do. They usually do supporting actor and supporting actress as the first category.
Yeah, yeah. It's just one of those that I build it like a
But
fucking
then,
fight card.
and yes, but then yes, the other four they do usually save for last.
And I do not understand that. To me, you start best actor or best actress. Start hot. And then give them the support. Then you go director.
Well, they just want to save their biggest stars for that's that's it.
I mean, I get it. The other thing is, it's not fair because then you belittle other parts. That show
Oh,
should
we'll be
be
talking about that.
that show should be an
Um,
hour long, and it should only be the big six, and then they should just list the winners of the other ones.
and we'll be talking about that in so technical changes.
I can see a nomination, not a win for Tenet for original screenplay. That's it.
I also have an original screenplay. I don't know how much people love this movie, but I really love it. Is a nomination for Palm Spring.
Never seen it. Don't know what the fuck it is.
Oh, really? Andy Samberg and who's the girl in the Penguin? Stin.
Emiliati.
Yeah, those two.
I think I've seen a
Like
clip of that, but that's about it.
it's like a fun Groundhog Day-ish movie where
Huh.
yeah, it's kind of like Groundhog Day, and I really love it, Samberg. So
You do love Andy
it's a fun
Samberg, which is
it's a
odd
fun movie.
because it's not someone I would peg as like, oh, Dylan would love. So I
Yeah,
always get
it's
intrigued
something
because I
about
forget.
him. Something about him is just really funny.
Yeah, I have zero. I have zero changes to the rest. I just have a question about a big six, and that's it.
Yeah. So the other categories, Chloe Zhao won director for Nomadland. Anthony Hopkins win. The oldest winner for The Father. Also, we talked about Julianne Moore winning for Bill Alice. So the second person to win for playing someone with dementia in the last 5 years, because she won in 2015. Apparently, the Oscars just love presented someone that plays someone with dementia.
So they got their flavors, man. They like
Yeah.
sticking within their flavors.
Yeah. Frances McDormand wins again for Nomadland. Daniel Kaluuya wins supporting actor for Judas and the Black Messiah. And then I'm gonna butcher this name, Yu Young Yoon or Minari for supporting actor.
Talk about a lot of stuff I haven't seen. I don't know what the fuck it is. And I don't mean that with
Minari.
any disrespect. I have not all of them. I'm talking about all of them, not that one
Oh,
specifically.
okay.
I don't
Minari's
know
great. It's
what any of
Stephen
those are.
Yoon. Oh, Stephen Yoon, right?
Yeah, of course I know Stephen Yeun. Walking
Walking
Dead.
Dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a really great like. It's like a really low budget movie. It's like a small like drama about like a Korean family struggling in rural America. And then yeah, he plays the grandma in it. So
Sadly, that was my guess. If with
yeah,
knowing nothing about that movie, I'm like, I'm sure she plays like some grandma in an immigrant story.
yeah, she's great in it. Daniel Kaluuya, one of two actors nominated for Best Supporting Actor in the movie. I completely agree with that too. Frances McDormand, I don't connect with Nomadland. I know a lot of people love it, but just don't
I don't know
that
what that
movie.
movie is.
It's like about her. She's like she lives in a van, travels around the country, and struggles like find work and stuff. It's like it's kind of like a COVID movie, like
It's kind of perfect
struggling
for
to
the
live.
time. Kind of perfect
Yes,
for the
it's
time.
just one of those movies that speaks to the time. And Frances McDormand obviously is a great actress, she's great in everything she does. But yeah, I just didn't connect to that movie all that much. Anthony Hopkins obviously is great, and him and the father, he is great in that movie. But it is a shame that Chadwick Boseman didn't win.
So this is the only question. Again, I told you I haven't seen any of these. This is not a knock. I had to ask the question. Was he nominated because it was a worthy performance, or was he nominated because he died?
It's a worthy performance,
Okay.
and there is a reason he won all those awards. But
I
actually,
assume.
that's not the one I would have picked. I actually would have picked Riz Ahmed in Sound of Metal, which is
Okay.
a Amazon movie
Huh.
where he's a drummer in a metal band and he starts going deaf, and it's
Oh.
just like him filled with fucking rage about not being able to hear anymore because his entire life is about music
Yeah.
and he just can't hear. So it's just like him, yeah, being completely just overwhelmed and filled with rage about it. It's a really like I really connected to that movie. I really loved it. Um, but Boseman, I would have picked over Anthony Hopkins. I can see why Anthony Hopkins won. He's like the more traditional choice, I would have said.
Sure.
But like one of those movies that just like Oscars, the Academy just loves old people struggling. Like it reminds me of
Old people just struggling.
it reminds me of in 2011 there's a movie called Amour that got nominated for Best Picture, and Emmanuel Riva got a lot of buzz, and she was rumored to be the front runners. She's just like another person with dementia. So it's just like
Oscars
they
love their
love
old
it.
people.
They love it. Yeah.
And what's the best picture
Then
winner of this year?
Nomadland wins Best Picture. Other nominees: The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, very underwhelming Mank, Sound of Metal, Dari, Promising Young Woman, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. The only thing I would have done is I would have changed Nomadland out for Promising Young Woman. I really love Promising Young Woman. That's a fun movie. It's like I actually don't want to spoil anything about it.
Okay.
It's like Carey Mulligan being a total badass all the time.
Carey
It
Mulligan being a total badass.
like she's awesome in that movie.
You know my stance. I've never been a Carey Mulligan fan, so
He's great in that movie.
I've
And
never.
there's a great twist at the end.
Yeah.
And Bo Burnham's in that movie, and he's just a total dude. Then I would have loved to see Palm Springs get a nomination, but I don't know what I would have replaced it with. So,
And what wins Best Picture again?
Nomadland.
So you would have just taken out the winner and just said nah.
No, I would have just Nomadland. I would have kept in there, but Promising Young Woman, I would have switched with it.
At first, I thought you said I would take that out and put Promising Young Woman in, as in like the category, not the winner. And I was like, oh damn,
Promising
okay.
Young Woman was nominated. Yeah, so
Weird
honestly,
year. There's nothing to talk
like,
about. There's nothing to really
like,
sink your teeth into.
Yeah, in terms of like favorite movie, yes, I'd say Palm Springs, but I don't know. It's pretty hard to pick a favorite movie.
A favorite movie, I think, it's gonna go to either Tenet or Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. Movie's underrated. It's actually pretty fun. It just
because you have no interest.
I will say this. Of the DC movies, that was the one that came out.
Soul was not Soul.
I've yet to see Soul. I like Onward. I think Onward's fun. Obviously, I connect with that one for obvious reasons that Dylan would know. Yeah.
Just looking at other movies that year.
I didn't like. This is the thing. Like, I have to look at this list and go, did I hate it? And that could count as maybe a favorite because the year is just so dead. I look at Mulan.
Yeah.
I thought Mulan was about as mediocre gets, and I'm like, well, I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman 84 sucks. And
yeah, that movie does suck.
Oh, God, I remember having to have a discussion about that because we had friends over. We all watched it together because they came for the holidays. They're like, what do you mean it's bad? I'm like, this movie's bad. Like, this movie's bad. Like, what? I'm like, no, guys, you can like it. I'm not saying you can't like it. But you can't tell me and defend this accurately and tell me this is a good movie. It's not.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucks.
That fucking movie.